What's up, guys? Jorge Anito here, back with another Bible review. This is the English Standard Version Pew Bible. So what that is, basically, if you go to a church that uses the ESV, this is what you're going to find in their pews, more than likely. This is real reasonable. You can find it online for very cheap price, very reasonable, anywhere from $10 to $20, and some of the used ones are even cheaper than that. So just going to look at it real quick. It's going to be a short video today. I just want to, because there's not a lot of bells and whistles with this Bible. So you're not going to have the commentary, you're not going to have the study Bible notes. It's just the Bible. There's no introductions, there's no maps at the end, at the back of the Bible. This is the, see if I can get in focused on that. It's the ESV Classic Pew and Worship Edition. I'm sorry if the focus is not in. I'm actually working on upgrading some of my equipment and renovating the channel. Published in 2001, copyright 2001, sorry, by Crossway. And yeah, so basically you just, you obviously you have the table of contents, the Old and the New Testament. It does have the preface, which is kind of nice because it goes into the translation philosophy, the legacy of the translation, how it sort of stems from the King James tradition, but it sort of cleans up some of the archaic language, and but it does maintain that word-for-word correspondence. And I'll just read this down here real quick. At the same time, taking into account differences of grammar, syntax, idiom between current literary English, and the original languages. Thus, it seeks to be transparent to the original text, letting the reader see as directly as possible the structure and the meaning of the original. So this preface I have found very helpful. It talks about the style, how it is essentially literal. So what they go for in the translation process, obviously, is they try to be word for word as much as they can, but at the same time, they try to be functional with it, or they incorporate some not thought for thought philosophy when needed. But for the main part, this is word for word. When this came out, this was like an instant classic. You have people praising it from, James White. I know James White is actually, he's a critical consultant for the NASB, but he does talk highly of the ESV. People like Mike Heiser. I mean, in scholarly circles, in church circles, the ESV has really came and just sort of took people, really taken people's hearts, and the language in it, the readability of it is just, it's amazing. But just a couple things, like I said, there's no introductions. It's just the text. That's all it is. But the cool thing with the ESV is you're going to get these little text critical notes at the bottom where certain words or phrases are called into question. They may be from an earlier manuscript, than like maybe than the Masoretic tradition, which is what the King James is based on. And there's something to be said. There is so much to be said about just the plain Bible, just the text itself, unadulterated. I don't mean that in a bad way, but just free of, certain biases, tradition. It just let the text speak for itself. And I found it helpful after you have some sort of theological training and Bible study under your belt to just go for one of these. I still use some other study tools and references and actually other Bibles, but when it comes to just, sermon preparation or something like that, this is what I go to. This is what I work from. I have my BLB, my online BLB, which is a Bible study program that, I can look up some of these words in the original languages, see what they mean. The ESV did a really good job. And like I said, there's not a lot of bells and whistles for the price that you pay for it. I think it's a good choice. I mean, it's just the functionality of it is wonderful. It's practical. And like I said, it's free from, the commentaries, the certain biases, theological slants. At the back, I will say that they do have these responsive readings. This is a pew Bible. This is a worship Bible that you're going to find in churches. And in some of the worship services, they do these things called responsive readings. The worship leader will read a section. The congregation will read aloud the next verse, and so on. So you have these different responsive readings on creation, the fall. And so you have a whole section devoted to responsive readings. And then I think it does have a page devoted to monetary values and, weights and measures. Other than that, that's all it is. Like I said, there's a lot to be said about just the text itself. Letting God's word stand on its own. It's okay to, seek the advice from multiple sources and other study Bibles and helps and aids. But at the end of the day, I think the Word of God can just stand on its own. And these type of Bibles, these pew Bibles, you can get them really cheap. It's just the text. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Thanks, guys, for tuning in and checking this out. And God bless.